Today, we're talking about how you can sometimes feel like, yeah, you finally have that job or that role, co-star, guest star. You're going to come into an existing show for a smaller piece than the rest of the people that are there. And so, though you might be craving for connection, for rehearsal, for being part of a family, for exchanging and being creative together, it might be such an established team that you might be struggling to feel that you're part of it because no one's paying attention to you, no one's really saying hi, no one's integrating you, including you. You're not getting in on the inside jokes. You're not getting to rehearse. You're not really getting to interact and do the best work you can. So it might kind of drag your energy down a little bit because you might feel like you're not being fully accepted or seen or just welcomed for your job. And so it might make you feel like it's not a fulfilling experience. And it also, if it drags your energy, you might feel like they're not liking you. I've heard actors say that, like they're ignoring me, they're not liking me, and therefore you suddenly don't, you're not present anymore because you're thinking about that, and therefore you don't perform in a way that you know that you can perform. So it's kind of stealing away from the experience and from the joy of the experience that you could have because you're on set and you've been wanting to be on set and you're finally on set and you're not having fun. And it's also stealing away from the quality of your performance. So that can be very frustrating. That's not why you're an actor. You are, you chose this job because you love the interaction, because you love the teamwork and being creative together, because you want to rehearse, because you want to connect with other human beings and create a piece of art together. And yet when that happens in the beginning, your part of the puzzle is too small to be really a part of the puzzle. And that can be frustrating. And I totally understand that because as actors, you're very sensitive and emotionally vulnerable, and it can impact you. I know that it impacts a lot of actors that are reaching out to us and that are telling us about this. So what I would like to do today is look at actually what is happening when you're feeling those emotions, because as you know, the way that I approach these topics is not usually how you experience them. So you might think, well, that is a problem because these big teams should pay attention to actors that are coming in for a day or a week, and they should include us and welcome us so that we do feel, validated in our job, respected, and we don't start thinking, oh, they don't like me, I'm doing something wrong, the way that I'm acting this doesn't fit, they don't like my work, and therefore I start shrinking, and therefore I deliver a terrible performance. So you might think it's the fault of the system or of that specific show that has a specific vibe that doesn't match yours. But where I would like us to focus the discussion is for us to realize that the reason why you're feeling maybe excluded or not part of has nothing to do with them, but has to do with the fact that you're walking into that set with your ego, like big like this. You're walking into that set with your ego first, whereas your job description is to not walk into that set with your ego, but to be in character. And when you're in character, you're not paying attention to whether you're being welcomed or liked or asked to rehearse, or if you're included in any creative discussion, because you're actually busy being your character in the circumstances that you're in, and you're being in that zone. So you're not being yourself, you're not being your acting self, you're being the character. So you've given up on yourself and on your ego, right? So what I'm saying is that you might be thinking, when you're entering a set with a smaller role that the rest of the production, that no one's paying attention to you, no one's liking what you're doing, no one's including you or welcoming you in the work, when actually what's happening, if you're feeling that, it means that you're walking in with your ego rather than with your character. And the reason you're walking in with your ego and not with your character is because your instrument is still, in a way, tied up. So you're still not present, not completely open. And because you're not completely open, you're going to have to worry about your instrument not being open. So you're in your ego, right? So do you see how this is a loop? Like if your instrument is completely open, you can walk into a set being the character and actually be interested only in that, because you do not have to take care of your instrument. It's already open. But if you're walking into a set and you haven't done enough work on your instrument itself, on your freedom, on your capacity to be with all of your sensations, all of your emotions, in your capacity to be vulnerable, well then you have to take care of that in the moment, because it starts feeling sticky and it starts feeling like it's, contracting in here, or you're feeling like you're shrinking because it's not flowing. It's not fully alive. Your instrument is in a way not working like it's meant to be working. And when I say working, it's like if you're an actor, your responsibility is to be fully alive, to be able to be fully alive and open. If that capacity hasn't been restored in you, if you're feeling tied up, like you have blocks and fears and you feel stuck or stiff or nervous, if you're feeling all of those things, you're gonna be in your ego. You're gonna be trying to keep your head out the water. You're gonna try and take care of that sensation that you don't like. And therefore, you cannot be in character. But your job description is to be in character, right? So when you're doing that and you're in your ego, suddenly you're paying attention to all the wrong cues. Like they're not paying attention to me, they don't want to rehearse, they're not talking to me, she didn't say hi, or why is this name actor walking right by me and they know that we're going to do a scene together and they didn't even notice me. You're going to be telling yourself a million stories that have to do with your ego, that feed it or kill it, or you're going to be stuck in that downward spiral. Instead of actually showing up for your job, which is you were given a role, you walk in as the character, and you spend all the time on set being the character, right? Spending moments of the character that apparently are out of the script when you're waiting, that are at the catering, that are at the lunchtime. Be in character. The best actors stay in character the entire day. Why? Because that's the only way to be in character. You can't be in your ego and start to try and socialize with everyone, and then they say action, and suddenly you have to act then and push and pretend because you were not there. So if you really, really want to be there, if you want to not pay attention to what's happening, if you want to come for the responsibility that you were hired for, which is to defend a character, you want your instrument to be completely untethered, untied, to be completely free and open so that you don't have to take care of it in the moment, so that you can be there for your character. And guess what happens when you are there for your character? When you're focused, when you're really in that zone, when you're really present, and they say action, what happens is that you're already there, you're focused, you're present, you're in your zone, and you deliver beautiful performances. That's when you start being interesting to the rest of the crew, even if you just came in for one day. Suddenly, oh my God, look at that actor or that actress, how alive, how open they were. Because they feel the difference between your neediness and expectation to be noticed and you just being there, being present, independently of the others, there for your character, ready to open and be present no matter what is happening. And then you're having an extraordinary experience. And then you're delivering an extraordinary performance. And then people are starting to notice you and be interested. So it's really about the only way to be with a team and a new family on set is to actually be with you, right? The only way to have some interaction is to first be able to be filling your own cup. When you're in your own zone, filling your own cup, being with your own instrument and your character, then the interaction can start happening. Then the family can start happening. Then people notice you. If you're coming in hoping and needy, then nothing happens, because people feel that, and they don't want to deal with your ego, right? That's not why you were hired. You're on set to be a character and to play that character. And that's the job, nothing else. You can join our wait list so that we can send you some information about the reset work that we do with actors, just to make sure that you can get back to an instrument that's extraordinarily free, extraordinarily instinctive, present, so that you can actually do the job of focusing on your character and not dealing with your ego, which are two very different things. Dealing with your ego is not the job description of an actor, right? It really is about having an open and free instrument so that you can deal with the character, not with your ego, right? Okay, guys, hope this made sense. If there's any questions, let us know. And if you're interested, make sure you get on our wait list, and then we'll let you know when we open the reset journey again. All right, thank you. Bye.